In today's video, we're going to create a flow standing inside the well with a spring on. I'm going to demonstrate with a red spring, but you can use a lighter or a heavier depending on what you want. I'm also going to keep the rep range down. Now, this can be adapted to an athletic class, and I use this often in my athletic classes with maybe 2 springs is usually what I'll do, a couple springs. And what this does for my students is gives them the opportunity to spot themselves with a foot. So instead of being at a gym where you have a workout partner, in a group class, I still want to find some ways to build strength with vast different strengths in my students. So this one came about where I was doing an exercise, standing exercise outside the reformer, as you've seen some of the standing outside the reformer work. And I had a couple students that were challenged too much, and I wanted them to get past their challenge and have some confidence in the spot, and this really helps. So as I mentioned, I'm going to demo on a red spring. We want the swivel pulleys down. If you have the collapsible risers, pull those down. Very carefully step in the well and then turn to face the back. I'm going to rest the carriage against my shins as I get set. So I want to test this and see how it feels for rowing. It should be fine for rowing. What you'll notice, much like when we do the kneeling on the carriage facing front, we have to pivot at the ankle joint a little bit. So I'm pivoting at the ankle joint back, and I'm just going to start with some simple rows. Now the flow is going to consist of basic upper body strength, rowing, biceps, triceps, and then we're gonna flow and facing the front. So what we're gonna do is first balance on one foot, adjust ourselves accordingly. We want the heel off the spring side edge. Now this foot acts as a spot. With 2 reds, I'm not gonna need to use it, but I want it there specifically to show you the opportunity to go to heavier springs and have that leg as a spot. So I'm slightly leaned back and I'm doing a row. I'm keeping my leg pretty passive. Now we're going to go into alternating rows, and that's where you're going to feel the leg need a little bit more help. It also works great for a little balance challenge. And then bicep curls. And then triceps. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull myself standing, go back into the rows. Put the foot on, and then work the balance row. Just on one leg, and then alternating. Bicep curls. Triceps. And then hold both with one. Step down, turn around, put your calves against it. Now the straps are going to twist, so you're going to have to make sure you untwist them. And then sit back in the hips and bicep curls. This is really strong. So if you want to put one foot on, scoot yourself a little bit more to center, and this is where the spot comes in. We'll do 5 each side. Oops, be more careful than that. And then we're going to finish, whoop, pardon me, I didn't finish that. We're going to finish by lowering our arms, have a seat, and go into front rowing. So if you've seen any of my exercises or you've done them sitting front rowing, if you're in the shorter reformers, you can simply take your legs, bring them up cross-legged style if you have that hip flexibility, and do it there. I would probably go into hug a trees, salute, shave, all those exercises that you normally would do on the carriage. So please know you're going to have to play around with that. If you lose your balance, as I did a couple times, talking and trying to teach sometimes, and balance is a challenge. Make sure that you feel that you can catch yourself, definitely. If you have students that have some issues with the balance, I recommend when we're doing that front series on single leg, put that foot bar up so they can catch themselves if they need to do that as a support. It isn't really necessary to have down, but if you're going to flow into something that is going to be standing and using the machine, then I just don't like putting the foot bar up and down all the time. So when you're doing that, remember the 4 basic components is going to be a rowing, feet on the ground, and then feet up, alternating rowing. So a row, an alternating row, a bicep curl, and a tricep. Both legs, turn around, face front. If you want to challenge your student with strength, take the balance out and just do bent over bicep curls, or take one leg off, as I mentioned, or I demonstrated, and do some single leg using that hip to extend and pressing the leg back with the foot. And then you can have a seat and do whatever you want. Now I've done it where I've gone, have a seat, do some arm stuff, then I'll come up and I'll have them lie down and do some other exercises. So play around with that programming. It's a really fun flow to get your students kind of out of the norm and into doing something that can start to develop a little bit more strength and balance coordination for students that want that. Thanks for watching.